Fine, I'll just tear up my notes.
Right.
Don't worry about it. I was sat there, Jim, thinking I was on easy street with a peanut butter and jalapeno sandwich, my new thing, that I'm very much regretting right now.
Yeah, we're going to circle back to that. Don't worry.
And a circle will be involved. I can't believe Fulham managed to turn this match around. Fulham 2, Brentford 1. Wilson coming off the bench, Harry Wilson coming off the bench and scoring a brace in stoppage time to win the West London derby for Fulham. Fulham went into this match, Jim, losing 6 of their last 7 league games played on a Monday night. They do not like Mondays, but they managed to get a win from a really unlikely position, behind for most of the match. They scored in the 24th minute, Brentford, and Wilson with an epic equaliser coming out of nowhere. Fulham just spent the whole match just getting to a certain point, falling to pieces. Getting to a certain point, falling to pieces. This game had everything in the last 5 minutes, Jim.
Yeah. Absolutely. Harry Wilson, the Prince of the Skies. No scoring on the deck for him. There's no time for that. You've got to get 2 late on. Now, I had a feeling before this game that this might be a really good one. And that happens to me essentially whenever I watch a game at night. I am so easily tricked by the idea that because a game's on at night and it's under the lights and all that it's going to be an absolute banger. And I expected there to be a lot of goals in this one because both teams went into the game with 0 goal difference, which suggests they're quite free scoring and quite free conceding. But
they're comme ci comme ça, the very definition.
Indeed, but it didn't quite pan out that way. But it was still a great game because of how much stuff was packed into the end. And you're right about Fulham's kind of lack of penetration. There were so many times where they'd kind of get into the box and it would all just fall down. Brentford seemed very comfortable with that, despite not having kept a clean sheet all season. And I think we've seen why towards the end of the game there. But it was really kind of, even when Fulham were huffing and puffing at 1-0 down, it was quite an entertaining game. I think there is a lot from that Fulham display to suggest that there's more to come from them if they can just click a little bit more in terms of their finishing. I think part of the issue is that a lot of the shots they had something like 25 odd shots during the game. A lot of them were sort of kind of hits from distance and a little bit hopeful. But obviously, that worked for Brentford. An absolute pinger of a goal with a ridiculously low XG.
Yeah, it was the XG derby in many ways, and like Marco Silva has said that Fulham have deserved more this season, and they
Marcus Speller has said it as well.
Marcus Speller has said it as well, and you'd probably agree, as the XG table does not lie, but that's all anyone talked about. They played well at the Etihad, but they didn't put away their chances, and this very much continued tonight. They just seemed to get into the box, and just everything sort of went really poorly for them. If you look at a player like who did they? Reece Nelson just seemed to have about 3 or 4 chances and he just could not seem to get his foot, head, bum round any of them at all. And after some good work from Emile Smith-Rowe as well. The Arsenal boys were trying to do their collective thing, but looking at the former, or rather looking at Emile Smith-Rowe, you'd probably say it was a really good performance from him in the main. But then Reece Nelson, he's still on loan from Arsenal, isn't he? And if you see him getting on the Piccadilly line at Hammersmith, he's probably not going to be that welcome.
I don't know. I would think perhaps I'm looking at him very, very sympathetically here, but I thought obviously he perhaps could have done better with a few chances in the first half in particular. Maybe could have squared instead of shooting with one. But obviously the end product was lacking, and that has been an issue, with his time at Arsenal and some of his loan spells as well. But I think I saw during the game it flash up on the screen, and this was like his second Premier League start since about 2020. I think he showed enough in that performance for Marco Silva to look at that and think, if he can get a run of games here, then there's more to come. There's real promise in that, and I think he's probably very, very eager to make an impression on his first start. I agree with you that he absolutely should have done better in a couple of occasions, but I think he was very, very lively. He was making things happen. He was an outlet for the whole game. So I think it's easy to say this now that they've won the game, isn't it? Because of Harry Wilson's amazing sort of ninja acrobatics. But yeah, I thought he did well, and I would say as well, a player who impresses me every time I see him is Anthony Robinson. He was fantastic, particularly linking up with those two. Actually, he's got such quick feet. He's a very, very intelligent player. He's very strong as well. He's got so much to his game. Really enjoyed his display.
Yeah, and I guess The game started with both teams looking relatively nervy at the back. Leno and Flecken putting in short passes that no one really could figure out what to do with. Both teams looked a little bit wonky, but Brentford were the ones that scored the first goal. Vitaly Janelt, he opened the scoring in the first half. Brentford's first goal from outside the box this season, and all the talk on Sky, all the talk with the commentary team was that Thomas Frank basically said, I don't like my teams trying to score from outside the box, but good God, did he score from outside the box?
He had no other option on, really, didn't he? So presumably he had permission, some sort of teacher's note that from Frank himself that lets you do that. It was a brilliant hit, wasn't it? Absolute pinger. And it was one of those things where it makes a really satisfying noise as it hits the back of the net. And this is what I want on a Monday night. This is what I'm expecting from every single game at night. And at least that bit did deliver.
Yeah, and the crowd were hot from that point, because even with Brentford scoring, the Fulham fans just knew at some point they were going to get something. But then it flipped in the second half, where there were some quite spicy challenges sort of flying in here and there. There were some interesting situations for the referee to deal with. But, I mean, on today's Ramble, we described this game as performing an encore with a song from your new album, which... It's an interesting way of giving it.
Marcus said it was more like a hidden track on a great album, and I think he has actually been proven right, which
that
I know
Robbie
he'll
Williams
appreciate.
One that you like so much,
Dickhead,
Juicebox Dickhead.
Is that a hidden track? I don't know, but it should be buried rather than hidden. To be honest, check it out if you want to waste your own time. But yeah, we were talking while this game was going on, weren't we? That I think it looked like it was going to be the story of the better team not winning, and it's obviously Fulham and Brentford are two teams it's very easy to like a lot as neutrals, and so I've got nothing against Brentford when I say this, but I am really pleased for Fulham that they won, because they were so clearly the deserving winners in that game, and it felt like it was just going to be an absolute travesty if they could, of their own making, if they couldn't get something out of it. But Silva used his bench really well.
Even with the draw, well, he did eventually. He's obviously he does historically have a propensity for just doing quite late substitutes, but I didn't see this one coming up, to be honest. I thought Brentford got to about 65 minutes and thought, this isn't going to be Fulham's night. Let's go 5 at the back. Let's just shut up shop. And they just but they managed to find a way through. I mean, we look at the Wilson equaliser, which, to be honest, you would probably say at that point, Brentford probably didn't even deserve a point at that point, because they had been put to the sword so consistently in every minute of the whole match. The flick over a keeper in a congested penalty area, did he mean it? Was it a hit and hope? Do you want to live in a world where he didn't mean that? Is the question. Under the lights, Jim. Under the lights.
Oh, God,
under your lights.
You got me on the lights. I do think he meant it, because I don't know what else he would be trying to do. Maybe perhaps just flick it into a congested area to see if someone else can get something on it. He certainly celebrated like he meant it. And I don't want to live in a world where he didn't mean that. I need there to be some magic. Yeah,
and I wouldn't care. Like, Brentford went up the other end, and they looked like they were ripe for an equaliser as well. It was just absolutely ridiculous.
That I was about to be really annoyed at the universe that it's even possible for a team to go and do that, to play in such a play without
back foot kind of way.
Without a lot of adventure, and then go, actually, we need another goal. Let's just go and get one, and it be as simple as that. But yeah, it was great. It was a raucous game. It was really, really fun.
And I think the other thing that Sky pointed out was that Brentford started the game by in the warm up having I think it was a 7-on-7 kind of defensive shape, kind of that they practiced in front of everyone, which I think is like you never see that, do you? You never see people doing full on sort of like defensive drills, do you?
No, I can't say I've really noticed it too many times.
No,
they could be fake though. It could all be a smokescreen.
Could all just be loads of nonsense, really, just trying to trick everyone. The only thing that ever happens before a match is usually you get some players taking free kicks, maybe some goalkeeping drills, but to see like a full-on thing you'd expect to see in midweek at the training ground, it's I've never seen that before.
Maybe we're just not paying attention though.
No,
I'm always just so happy to be at a game.
I'm always late, so I never see anything. Really.
Maybe that's it.
I'm pretending. I miss about 5 minutes of everything I've ever gone to see. Comedy shows, wrestling, football, everything. I've never seen the first 5 minutes of anything.
There must be so many movies where the end is the beginning, and where you have no idea. Like, you have
love
absolutely
Pulp
no
Fiction.
idea.
It's all
that
over the
that's-
place. Not a clue. Not a clue what's going on. I missed the start of Reservoir Dogs. And it's like, I thought the guy was fine, to be honest. I thought the guy was fine.
Cheers for watching another fantastic clip from the Football Ramble podcast. Make sure you click like on this video and subscribe to the channel, which means you will not miss a single upload.